again, right? Is somebody able to read this?
I can read it if you want.
We'll just start with the minister.
It's not being displayed. Okay.
I got it.
Okay. A story I once heard illustrates this point exceedingly well. Many years ago, a minister was driving along a remote country road when he happened upon a very beautiful farm. The farm was kept in absolutely magnificent condition. The fences were well cared for. The crops were radiant green. And although the house was set back some distance from the road, it was abundantly clear it had a clean, fresh coat of white paint on it. Well-cultivated flower beds encircling the house stretched along both sides of the long, wide driveway, leading to it from the road. In a neat row along both sides of the drive as well were straight lines of tall green poplar trees reaching to the picturesque pale blue sky. The lawns surrounding the house were a deep, rich green, as well as manicured as and as well manicured as putting green ever was. Jeez. The entire picture would have fit well on a postcard since it was absolutely breathtaking in its splendor. Then the minister looked off to his right, to the other side of the road. Here the fields were plowed. The earth was the deepest black the minister had ever seen, and he was amazed at how the furrows had been plowed in such a way that they stretched out in rows, as straight as clothing lines. Far off in the distance, the minister could see the farmer sitting upon his tractor. With a straw hat on the back of his head and clad in an old light blue pair of overalls. It appeared that the farmer was moving towards the road as he was plowing. Since the minister was in no particular hurry, he pulled his car over to the side of the road, got out, and walked towards the fence. When he reached it, he just stood still, enjoying the light breeze, the warm sunlight, and admiring the beauty of the farm and the farmer's ability to plow such straight furrows. As the farmer worked his way towards the road, he noticed the minister leaning against the fence. So he brought the tractor to a halt, climbed down from it, and slowly started to walk in the minister's direction. As the farmer got closer, the minister smiled, raised his arm, waved, saying, "My good man, God has certainly blessed you with a beautiful farm." The farmer stopped, pulled out an old red and white polka dot handkerchief from his pocket of his bag. Scarred and calloused hands, he raised his arm, wiped the sweat from his sun-scorched brow, still not saying a word. Then he reached up with his other hand and gently took from his mouth the long piece of straw that he had been bouncing and waving as he walked. He stood in silence for a moment, looked at the minister, and then he spoke with a slow and steady voice. He replied, "Yes, Reverend, you're right. God has blessed me with a beautiful farm, but I just wish you could have seen it when he had it all to himself."
Takeaways? That's huge.
When he had it all to himself. So it goes back to the assimilation of what do you think a dog is? Because it's the same thing. How do you know what the house looks like? How can you define what that house is for you versus another? And if he said God first, and this was back to God's picture of imagine when it was his. So what are you really looking at? What is your depiction of a perfect home? Is it plowed? Is it not plowed? Have you really painted that picture? Does everybody know what that picture looks like? If you're not where you want to be, what does that painting look like?
Right. Takeaways? Very first thing is going to be creative imagination. There's a creative force that works to and through each man. You want to find where the Creator's at, He works through you. That's the reason why, when God had it before, there was no creativity on the land yet. What life was looking for was a personal factor. It's your vision. So this man that's been working the ground and probably been working it for years, he was working with images. Where did you think he received the idea to build the rows? Whose rows was he watching?
The ones in his imagination.
There you go.
It could be accumulated through history as well. Maybe his father's, and his father's father maybe. Generations of farmers. Who do you think gave him the vision for the flowers and the green trees and all the beauty at the home? The fences were well cared for. The crops were radiant green, although the house was set back some distance from the road. It was absolutely clear. It had a clean, fresh coat of white paint. Cultivated flower beds encircled the house and stretched all along both sides of the wide driveway. We're thinking in images. He had to have had an image to create that. Where did he get that vision from?
It's creative imagination.
Yep. What images are you using? What images will you use to create 2022? We're at the beginning of a new year again. What images are you using to step into, to touch, to feel, to taste, to understand? What are you working with? Are you working to a definite end?
Just as the farmer has purpose, do you have purpose? Is what you're doing and the visions you're holding carrying?
Are you doing it on purpose?
Yeah. Because otherwise you're just living.
If you're not doing the things that you're doing on purpose, that means you're not choosing.
Do you wake up in the morning and do you feel it? Do you go to bed at night with it on your mind? Do you feel it in your heart? Are you exhausted, tired? If not, if you feel good, then you're living on purpose. Live for purpose. Trust me.
Any other takeaways?
I feel like the farmer had such gratitude for his land. I feel like it reminds me of a story I'll never forget. I was very young. My husband and I had just gotten married. I was waiting tables, and we had registered for these beautiful Waterford crystal wine glasses. We only received, I think, 4 or 6 out of the requested 10 or 12. And my husband said to me one day, we put them up in a cabinet, and my husband said to me, we should go buy more of these. And I said, those are like $88 a glass. It's like, you're not just going to go to the store and buy more. He took them out of the cabinet and he cleaned them and he polished them and he dried them. He made sure there wasn't a fingerprint on the glasses. And he said, if we want more, we have to take care of what we have. And to me, I think that that's what the farmer was doing. The farmer was so grateful for what he had, and he took such good care of it. When you drive past beautiful homes or beautiful pieces of property that have homes that are in disarray or not cared for, I think that there's something about the person who lives inside that home that their program doesn't even tell them what they have. And to find that gratitude is the key to being able to have purpose. That's just, for me, what I took away.
You cannot be grateful and have gratitude if you don't have an image.
You can't expect more if you can't be thankful for what you have today. either.
But really think about this. If there was no image making process, there's no thing. Instinct lives in its home. Its awareness is not, it doesn't have the conscious ability to design a new home. It wasn't given the ability to think in images, to create in images. The horse, the dog, the rabbit does not have the ability to think in images. We have this quote up here by Marcus Aurelius: you have power over your mind. Not outside of events. Realize this and you will find strength. Control the flow. Decide what images you play with. Decide how you're going to use your mind. In all of creative nature, we're the only ones that we see today. As far as we humans are looking right now, that have the ability to think and use the creative imagination to think in images and then bring them into form. That farmer was working with images. If he wouldn't have been there, it would have went back to nature. Right?
Yes.
Let's say the farmer leaves the land, everything goes back to nature. Nature will recycle everything. And you see this. If there's not somebody consciously keeping up with the home or the barn, nature, which is consistently taking the seen and making it unseen again for somebody else to bring into the world. You'll see a piece of wood deteriorate. You'll see the paint and everything decompose. You'll see it all vanish. If you sit there for hundreds of years, you'll see it all vanish again. Unless there's a conscious creator, somebody that's keeping it up.
It's the same thing goes if a house is already in existence and you're gone. Somebody doesn't live there. You ever notice the house decays quicker than if somebody's actually living there? Why is that? The energy. What's that?
There's no sinner.
Yeah. Has nothing to vibrate from. It's dead matter. Therefore decays.
Anyone else have any takeaways?
Yes, I have a story with my own evolution of my awareness that I came into light to, where before I was going to my outside world just unconsciously. I seen from where I was living at, what my parents did, that's what I was going to do. My awareness, I just kept on reacting to the world I was. So I was living an entire life of me not being in control. I didn't have the writer's pen. I was just going with what my environment showed me to be and what could only be. And I was speaking with Abraham about a week ago or so, and he brought to my point, who am I? And you need to practice the calming of the mind and creative thinking. So I started thinking and playing with the image of what I wanted to be and what my purpose was, and I had the vision and took the quantum leap forward. So I had to adapt. Had to take on the behaviors of the vision that I'd seen before. As soon as I started taking on the behaviors, everything started changing. My habits started changing. I started changing my daily routine. My speech started changing. My awareness was adapting. It was taking over. I was taking over. And I noticed it this New Year's, like we were talking about earlier. I noticed it mainly when I was around the same people that I was before. And they were questioning me on everything. What are you doing? You're different. Why are you so different? They didn't understand. And I was trying to explain to them, well, I'm not the same man I was before because I have an image in my head and I'm playing it out. I'm chasing it. And it's amazing the creative gift that we are blessed with. We just didn't have the understanding of what we truly have. And once I truly understood the gift, the power of the gift of just the creative mind, everything started unfolding. Other doors started opening up. I saw what I needed to do and how I needed to do it, and I started going for it. I literally had to walk away and question all of my understandings to that point, and it started to build new program, new habits, new ideas, and everything started coming at ease. I woke up every day with gratitude and excitement to get started, to get to work on my level of awareness. It's just amazing the power of your creative conscious, and we don't have the understanding to use it because we weren't taught. We're just reacting to the world around us, and it's just once you take that pen and actually start to really write your own book to your definite end, it's game changer, right? It's just a beautiful thing, and I'm truly grateful for being more aware every day and the decision makings that I'm making to that definite purpose.
Creative force, whether we're aware of it or not, and we always think in images. You can tap into thought and create whatever images you choose. You can tap into thought and create whatever